So in today's video, we're going to talk about Moe Norman's feeling of greatness. Now, for those of you who don't know, Moe Norman was a Canadian professional golfer, won multiple times on the Canadian tour, but also just built up this legacy about being incredibly accurate, an amazing ball striker, and demonstrated this in live clinics all of the time. The other thing that made him kind of well known was, well, just a little bit different. His characteristics were a little bit different, but the thing that I always liked about him was the types of swing thoughts that he was always trying to get across with amateur golfers. He always used to talk about dropping this shoulder down, you know, keeping this pointing up towards the sky, trying to do anything to get golfers out of the habit of swinging over the top. You see, golfers have a tendency of swinging over the top, have the same sort of traits. They pull down on the handle, they sort of rotate in this sort of fashion, and it doesn't matter what they try and do, they can't break it. So I always liked Moe Norman's feelings of doing anything in this sort of way to just start counteract those problems of over the top. And one of the things that he used to talk about as this feeling of greatness was dropping the club in the slot. That would be this sort of position here. He used to mimic this sort of dropping the club down into this position, feeling absolutely great, as if nothing could go wrong from this type of position. Now, those of you that have watched the channel will know that on occasions I'll talk about the shoulder, I'll talk about driving the elbow, I'll talk about the handle moving up. And I always watch the comments, and I know that some of you guys have tried these tips and some of you see success, some of you don't, and I think this reason will really explain. Even using some of Moe Norman's real kind of exaggerated drills like this alignment stick one, and the idea is you should be dropping it behind you, not out in front of you. They do solve one problem of the stopping the over the top motion. I think the problem that a lot of golfers have is whenever they try and incorporate these sort of feelings, they end up, well, just sort of striking the ground way behind the golf ball. So what I've sort of started to notice is, well, actually, if you can focus on a different thing, the arm dropping and the shoulder dropping happens much more as a byproduct. So it's a much more natural motion. And that thing you need to start focusing on is actually, well, just your chest rotation. My backswing position, if I make a real conscious effort here to try and keep my arms up in the air, so not pulling them down, and just rotate my chest towards the target, you can kind of see very quickly the way that, well, my chest moves to the target, my lead shoulder moves up and behind me, and therefore obviously if my lead shoulder moves up and behind me, this right shoulder comes right underneath my chin. And if I do this whilst keeping my arms up and just allow this to move down to the side of my hip, all of a sudden we're starting to talk about that feeling of greatness. The handle going up, the shoulder going down, the club dropping down. All of those feelings, which are quite rightly exactly what you should experience, start to kind of happen much more as a byproduct of turning the chest. Turn your chest towards the target is going to give you the ability to get the club into that slot. The slot that you guys are really struggling with, the slot that I know that golfers that reach out for help online or come through that door are really struggling with. So chest rotation is going to be key. The drill that I want you to practice is tricky, but it's this one. Break it down. And the way you're going to break it down is you're going to have to pause. Now, pause is brutal. Tiger used to talk about a drill that he used to do with Butch Harmon about pausing at the top of the backswing, and it was something that he knew was very important because it gave him a chance to feel and recognize a position, but it was also something that he fundamentally hated doing, and I think you guys aren't going to like the response either. I need you to swing up towards the top and pause. I also then need you to turn your chest and pause. Now, the idea is you want to try and feel like your chest is facing the target as your hands are about chest high. See where I am? From here, look at the ball, and then just do your absolute best to just meet any sort of connection with it. What this is going to do is it's going to change everything about it, especially if you're somebody who always does this and pulls down on the club. All of a sudden, you're going to move like this and like so. It's going to feel very different, and it's going to test your coordination as much as it tests mine. However, what you'll notice is that you'll get better at it. And then what you'll also notice is that eventually you can do it more simultaneous. But what you do need to do, and I say this with all of my students, is you need to recognize that chest rotation first. Okay, so watch me now. I swing up, turn my chest, and arms, okay? And you have to do it that way if you're somebody who wants to get that feeling of dropping that shoulder down, getting that club dropping down, getting the elbow in. You have to understand that these movements are a byproduct of decent chest rotation, which has to occur early in the downswing. So hopefully this video helps, and hopefully you enjoy it. Let me know what you would like to see moving forward on the channel, and also if you ever need any help with your game, I am available to help you out, whether it's face-to-face or online. See you guys again really soon.